are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We're back. It is December 29th. It's a Thursday. Another episode of The Issue. Kind of a big one. We have a lot of NFL to talk. It's going to be fully NFL, pretty much how all of the shows have been recently. We're getting to the last 2 weeks of predictions.
A little bit of college football, just because it's our last episode before we get to the New Year's.
That'll be in with the news.
The college football playoff. Yeah, that'll be in the news section. But God, NFL, we're getting teams clinching, getting teams mathematically eliminated. Some teams on the outside looking in, saying, "Well, if we win out and they lose out, and this team loses here, then we have a shot."
A lot of speculation who's going to make the playoffs, kind of those teams on the border. Perfect day to give you our top 10. So we're going to start the show like normal. Tim's going to have a rant on Philadelphia. They lose, but just kind of give the outlook, what that means, and how they can move forward. And then we're going to finish out the first segment with hits and misses. And then in the second segment, that's when we're going to get you our power rankings for going into week 17, top 10 NFL teams, and then the news to finish out the second. And in the third, we will have week 17 predictions and a little bit of a rant slash this or that with Tua. So Tua and we will give a couple of quarterbacks and compare just what we think Tua is. But overall, it's we have a lot to talk, and we're getting closer to that point where we're going to have to go over some of our big predictions for the year. So, at the end of, I guess, next week, we'll have our last predictions. It'll be week 18, and then we will have to go back over our divisional predictions from, July.
Not going to be good. Not going to be good.
We do have, one division that's perfect. The other ones, we need a little bit of movement in these last 2 weeks.
We had the Broncos winning the division.
We're not going to talk about the AFC West.
That was a tough one for us. So, like you mentioned, the Eagles lost to the Cowboys. Dallas is playing pretty well, right? The offense is certainly clicking. I don't think Dak is a top 10 guy, top 12 for sure. There's some flaws with the team, but the whole idea of they're going to get to the playoffs, they're going to make some noise. They're certainly a top 3 team in the NFC, right? I can't deny any of that. But all I'm hearing right now, right after this Eagles game, is, oh my God, Jalen Hurts is undoubtedly the MVP. It's not even close anymore. That game showed you exactly why. Look at how bad Gardner was. Jalen would have won that game. Look how much better Jalen would have been. If you've watched the show long enough, you dig in. You kind of know what's coming, right? This is going to be a classic rant where I completely disprove everything that Twitter media is saying, right? About Jalen Hurts, all this, that, There's more to the story than just stats. But I also watched the entire game, so the eye test and the stats, they kind of line up here. Let's take a look. The Eagles average about 23.5 first downs per game. That's weird, because Saturday they had 25 first downs. Okay, so Jalen averages 250 yards through the air. Gardner had 355. And before you say, but Tim, Jalen runs the football too. Jalen averages about 55 yards a game running. So not even over what Gardner threw for. Jalen's total wouldn't even be close. The team averages 6 yards per play. That's weird, because Saturday they averaged 6.5. Well, maybe he sucked on third down. That must be it. He couldn't convert. That's a pressure down. That's what separates a lot of backups from starters. Nope, the team averages 48%. They converted 57% on Saturday. Didn't even get sacked. Now I know he had the 2 picks. One of them was a spectacular defensive play where they took it out of his receiver's hands. It was a good ball that the defender took out of the receiver's hands. And I want to say the other one was tipped. Right now, don't get me wrong. I would take Jalen all day long. But you can't tell me that Gardner didn't command the offense well. Put up 27 points on one of the best defenses in the game against Micah Parsons. Right? Again, I would take Jalen all day over Gardner. I think the athleticism, the leadership, I think that's special. And I don't think Gardner is exceptional in anything. I think he's good at a lot of things. I don't think he's special at anything. I think Jalen is special with his athleticism and his leadership. But if you held a gun to my head and told me that once Jalen wants paid, because that's kind of how this goes, right? That's kind of how this goes. Second or third year quarterback breaks out. By year 4, maximum, you're paying them, right? That's kind of how it goes. Even if they're Kirk Cousins level, you still get paid after about 4 or 5 years. So if you held a gun to my head and said Jalen's price tag, $45 million, right? That's probably about what it'll end up being, depending on when he gets paid. Probably even more. That's probably on the low end. And you told me that Gardner's is 18. That's a tough decision to make, right? That's one where I would lose sleep over it. Gardner for 18 or Jalen for almost 50. I mean, everyone wants to use that game as like a crowning moment for Jalen Hurts as the MVP of the league. Take Patrick Mahomes and sprain his throwing shoulder, and then send Chad Henne into Dallas. And let me know how it goes. Seriously, the Chiefs wouldn't even compete. They'd get waxed. It would not be particularly close. Like, don't outthink the room here. Look, Jalen is very talented. I'd love to have him as my quarterback. If you told me tomorrow I could trade Kenny Pickett for Jalen Hurts straight up, I'd probably do it. But to say that his value is obvious from that game, to say that game shows that he's the MVP of the league, that is absolutely nonsense. There's no factual basis behind that whatsoever. Gardner played just as well, if not better. Okay, they lost by 1 score on the road to a really good football team. That's what happens in the NFL. That's what happens. Remember when the Chiefs went on the road and lost to the Colts? Well, look at the Colts now. They suck, right? That's what happens in the NFL. You go on the road. That's a tough game. You lose by 1 score, put up 34, right? That's a good football game from the Eagles, and that is not an indictment on Gardner Minshew, and that is not a crowning moment for Jalen Hurts. That's not what that game was. That was a very good football game between 2 very good teams. They might meet again in the playoffs, and that is what it is. If you think that Jalen is the MVP of the league over Patrick Mahomes because of this game, you are out of your mind. You're out of your mind. It's not even close. It's Mahomes' award, period.
The thing is with the MVP, and the thing that kind of it boils my blood when a team will play, exceptionally well, and then people want to turn around and point and say, oh, well, they are the clear-cut MVP. I've seen enough from one game, as opposed to a whole season body of work in which it should be judged off of. Sure, Jalen has been really good all year, but I don't think he's been playing like the best of the league at the MVP level all season.
I think it's Mahomes. They rebuilt his entire offensive line last offseason, ship off his best receiver.
Yeah.
A couple of his best receivers. He's got an all-new receiving core, new offensive line, and look at him.
Somebody in Juju who's still kind of proving it in Kansas City.
I mean, look at that team. They didn't even skip a beat. Mahomes is going to finish with one of his best statistical years. And here's what's impressive about it. Is how he's been able to alter his game. He went from over the top, big plays, big arm, wild. Against Houston, I don't even think he had a pass over 20 yards. He's become one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league overnight.
He's reading defenses so much better. He's making the smarter throws. It all looks fantastic in Kansas City.
And I'm not trying to take anything away from Jalen, but it's when people are saying that, you scroll on Twitter right after that game, and everyone's like, if you don't believe Jalen Hurts is the MVP of the league after this, I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, I know what to tell you. Look at the stats. Look at the numbers. They're the same team with Gardner Minshew and Jalen Hurts. Is Gardner Minshew the MVP of the league? Hell no.
But he's a good quarterback.
Good
quarterback.
Great backup.
Yeah.
Probably even more like a low-end starter, I think. I think he'd be a really nice bridge.
Yeah, I think so too.
A really nice bridge quarterback.
I think I would definitely rank him above like a Teddy Bridgewater, any sort of like
Andy
bridge quarterback in that.
Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even a question.
Whatever. All right, well, actually, let's get into hits and misses then. Good week on the books. Here we go. All right, hit number 1 here. Back on our winning ways with the bets. 3-2 this week. We needed that. Yeah. Oh, that was big for us. We had the Giants come through. We had the primetime under come through. We had the Bengals came through. Both of them near covers. We got the hook with the Giants at 3.5. They lost by 3.
Yeah.
We had the Bengals at -3.5. They won by 4. So close on both. And then the primetime under was an easy one. In Pittsburgh, it was like 2 degrees. So that was an easy one. 3-2 on bets this week. Feels good to be back on the winning side of things.
No, definitely. I was watching, and I went back, and I was like, okay, because every now and then, you have to go check the bet slip. You lose track, especially when there's so many good games on. So I go to the Bengals one, and they were up a ton.
Yeah, by
and I was like, that's a sure lock.
Yeah.
We're good on that one. Yeah. And then I just kind of stopped paying attention. I look back, and the Ravens are driving to win.
No.
Or not
Patriots.
Or the Patriots are driving to win.
Down by 4, yeah. I was like, I swear to God.
I was like, are you serious?
I know. I know.
If they would have scored, and that would have been a really bad beat.
We had to sweat that one out a little bit.
But
It's okay.
Hey, we're back.
We have had some bad beats. It's good to have some luck on our side here. So
every now and then.
Miss number 1 here. The Broncos have fired head coach Nathaniel Hackett.
Thank God.
I think that's the right move. But wow, did we whiff on the Broncos? We had them first or second in the division?
Yeah.
Making the playoffs, making a run. They were supposed to be good. I've never seen a quarterback drop off and be this bad after being so good for so long.
An MVP quarterback. He comes. He has more weapons now. He has
6 years. He's been an MVP quarterback.
Denver's in trouble. That's
I don't even know what you do.
That's
I don't
a
know
whole
what you
other conversation, but
check out the newsletter. I'm not going to give anything away, but something to chew on this week was about Denver and what to do at the quarterback position. I have an idea. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I floated it out there. Go sign up for the newsletter. Check that out.
Yeah. Dang.
All right, hit number 2. Zach Wilson never has been and never will be a franchise starting level quarterback in this league. I said it from the very beginning. I don't even think he's a bridge anymore.
I don't
think he's mature enough to be a bridge quarterback. I don't. Is he good enough? Does he complete enough passes to be a quarterback in the NFL? I don't think he does. It's sad, but it's true. I think I was trying to root for him because I think he's entertaining to watch. When he's on, he's really, really good. He's got the arm. He can move a little bit. But the performance is just flat out
But
poor.
here's the thing.
It's just not good. It's not good.
I said this a couple weeks ago. When you're that undersized, you have to do something really, really, really well. You have to be spectacular in one area.
Like Kyler's mobility, Russell for years.
You can't pick it
deep
apart.
Ball.
So, mobility, where does he stag in? Middle of the pack. I mean, he's not special mobile.
Yeah, it's in middle of the pack.
Arm. He's not Josh Allen. He doesn't have a cannon arm.
Top half, but not top 5.
Yeah, right. He doesn't have that one thing that sets him apart from everybody else. He doesn't make the best decisions. That's Joe Burrow, and that's Tom Brady. Yeah. So, he needs to find the one thing that he does really well and just kind of put all of your energy and effort into that.
I was actually going to say that it's sometimes you got to be boring, right? You look up and Joe Burrow's got a very, very boring 70% completion percentage, 250 yards,
but he wins.
3 touchdowns. Very, very quietly, methodical, almost like I said, boring. But you have to hit the screen passes. You have to hit the slants. You got to hit the outs. Those are the easy throws.
But those equal wins in the end. That's 100%. A winning football team.
Miss number 2 here. I think I said it about 5 weeks ago now that Mike Vrabel might be a top 5 head coach. Look, I know there's not a lot of talent there. He's starting Malik Willis, who I think is bare minimum 2 more years of developing before he's even competitive as a starter. But it is what it is. They've lost 5 straight. They now dropped to 7 and 8. They're out of the playoffs as of right now because they don't have the tiebreaker against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's the 4 seed. They have dropped out. They're on the outside looking in. Does not look good for Tennessee.
No.
Doesn't look good for Tennessee.
Derrick Henry has been very lackluster, too. It's
the offensive line's not very good right now either.
No.
They're kind of falling apart everywhere.
They are. And the one thing that they always did really well was create space and let Derrick Henry run. And when you can't do the one thing that your team is, built around.
Destined to do, yeah.
I mean, they're built around that. And Ryan Tannehill, or I guess Malik Willis, throws off of that.
Right.
So
100%.
When you can't do one, you kind of can't do the other.
Right.
So tough in Tennessee.
All right, hit number 3 here. We've said this multiple times, but Justin Herbert's way too good to not be a playoff quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at kind of the outlook at Brandon Staley's job security, we said if they miss the playoffs again, with Justin Herbert, you can't have Justin Herbert miss the playoffs 2 straight years. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about that. They clinched on Monday with a win. It was 20-3 over the Colts. Very, very easy, kind of a coast of a win.
We expected that.
Yeah. I mean, they're a much better football team, and like I said, Herbert is that guy. He's so special.
Yeah.
If you ask me tomorrow who I want to start my franchise with, I think it's probably Mahomes 1. There's a damn good argument for Herbert 2.
I'd say it's right between Josh Allen and Justin Herbert.
I think, put Burrow in that too, though.
You gotta put Burrow. We're in such a lucky time in football too, where we can have 5, 6 of these great quarterbacks.
You can make the argument for Trevor Lawrence.
You never. I mean, how many leagues do you see that in? Or how many times in the NFL have you ever seen that, where there are just so many stars?
That doesn't even include Lamar Jackson.
There are
MVP.
3 or 4 people that you can seriously include in an MVP race for this season.
100%.
It is insane.
And like I said, AFC alone, right? You're Mahomes 1, Allen 2, Herbert 3, Burrow 4. Okay, Lamar's won an MVP.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence might be the most talented out of all of them. We nitpick Tua, but he completes almost 70% of his throws.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It is crazy.
It's insane right now. And look, like I said, Willis is like 2 more years from even being competitive, but he's an athletic freak.
Yeah.
Like the talent right now is just off the charts.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Imagine if Russ would have actually been good.
That would be sweet too. If you had that AFC West that we were predicting.
My God. And Derek Carr is thought of as like the 9th best quarterback in the AFC. He's a damn good quarterback. He's a top 3 in the NFC.
Flip him to the NFC.
Top 3
top
3 to 5. Yeah,
top
top 5. 100%. All right, miss number 3 here. I can't explain, actually, this perfect segue into Derek Carr. How in God's name Derek Carr has been so bad though this year.
Okay.
I think it's a bad fit with McDaniel. I'm not an X's and O's guy enough to know what exactly isn't the fit, like why Carr's skill set and the scheme aren't matching up.
Why aren't you winning, man?
But they're just not. He's a veteran quarterback. He's making like dumb mistakes. He's not playing well. I don't really know how to explain it. Right? I don't know.
Well, this is kind of newer too, because the last season Derek Carr was pretty good.
Yeah. He carried that franchise to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Carried that team.
But it does kind of feel semi-good because we had them in the basement for predictions, and then you have all of the Raiders fanboys coming after us.
That's the one thing we got
Raiders
right
in the basement. Yeah. That's what
Well,
I like.
I guess not 100% right. They're above the Broncos, but like
I was-
we had them being not a playoff football team.
When we could kind of tell that they were going to be last in the division, I was so excited to like kind of end out the year and be like, yeah, like tag everybody that they commented and be like, yeah, hope I did save it. Actually, they're like, hope you saved these horrible predictions.
We did,
but then the rest of the division kind of fell apart, so that kind of denotes it.
Not ideal.
No.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. On the other side of the break here, we'll have our top 10 NFL teams. We'll get into some news at the end of the second segment. Of course, in the third, we'll have our predictions and then the game of this or that. So don't go anywhere. Okay, second segment, the issue. It's the 29th. Merry late Christmas, if you didn't listen to us last week when we actually wished you a Merry Christmas. Happy early New Year, I guess.
Yeah.
Watch out. We got the college football playoffs this weekend.
Oh, gonna be good.
Very, very excited for that. We'll get to our predictions, and we'll kind of discuss that in the news here in a little bit. But we're going to start this segment with our top 10 NFL teams going into Week 17. Yeah. This is a look, at the cumulative of the season. But also, you have to take into account trajectory, right? For example, a team like Miami, who might right now be in the playoffs, but I don't love the trajectory of Miami, having blown a lead against the Packers, lost, 4 straight now. So it's like they're not going to be in it.
They've been a little lethargic.
They're not going to be in it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that right now, and I don't trust their quarterback down the stretch. So there's a bunch of factors here, but let's get right into it. Top 10 NFL teams. Okay, let's go with number 10. Baltimore Ravens. Look, I don't know how to explain it, but they're winning football games. They can run the football. Their defense is at least serviceable. I love their culture. I like their coach. And when Lamar gets back, I think they're going to be way more explosive. Now, here's the beauty of it, though. With their time of possession and with their defense, they don't have to be a 40-a-game type of team.
No.
Can they be a 27-a-game team with Lamar? Yes, they can.
Absolutely.
If so, I would want no part of them in the playoffs. Ravens at 10.
Yeah, their defense is really what kind of solidifies them in that spot, I think, because they can hold on to those tight games. And they have, very rarely does your kicker matter in your ranking. I feel like having Justin Tucker is an automatic, that's got to give you a little bit of a boost because anywhere from 60 yards, you're good, late game.
Late game, if you can just get to the 45, you're in business.
Exactly.
Just get to the 45, you're in business. Number 9, the Jaguars. Look, I love Doug Peterson as a head coach. I think their skill guys on the outside are underrated. I like Kirk and I like Zay Jones. And their defense has been playing really well, especially from a pass rush standpoint, which I think is really important. And no quarterback has been better than Trevor Lawrence over the last 7 weeks.
Yeah.
He's like 110 pass rating. I think he's got 15 touchdowns. Or no, actually 16 touchdowns, one pick in that span. So he's been really, really good. The Jaguars are an ascending football team. They're just coming to their own. And again, I would want no part of them in the playoffs because it's so possible that you outplay them for 3.5 quarters and you lose because Trevor Lawrence is that good.
Yes, and
that's what happened to Dallas.
Exactly, and you mentioned the pass rush. The pass rush kind of got Dak off of his way a little bit, and
got him off his spot.
We know how important a pass rush is, especially in late season, especially in the
100%,
playoffs
100%.
when you can generate that pressure. And plus, it's covering up a lot of the blemishes that they have in their secondary.
Right.
So their corners are looking a lot better than they actually are, I think.
Yeah, they have that Tyson Campbell, I want to say his name is. Either way, he's like a rookie or a young cornerback. Nobody's talking about. He's been better than I don't know, name your young corner, but he's been better than Surtain. He's been better than J.C. Horn. All the young corners right now, he's been better than, and nobody's talking about him. So they've been good on the back end in spots as well. But like you said, helped out with the pass rush.
Oh, yeah.
All right, number 8, let's go with the Chargers.
Justin Herbert. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, so same thing with Lawrence. You could outplay them for 2.5 hours and still lose because Herbert just puts on a cape like he did against Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean, that throw on the run to Mike Williams was insane. And what's good about the Chargers is they're getting healthy at the right time. Mm-hmm. Their center's coming back. There's a chance Rashawn Slater could come back for playoffs, although it's looking doubtful, but still a chance. Your top 2 receivers are finally healthy. Derwin James also, although he got, ejected from the game Monday, which was I don't think it was the right call, but either way, he's healthy. The pass rush is getting healthy. I mean, so they're getting healthy in the right spots going into the playoffs, so that's good for the Chargers. Chargers at 8.
And just kind of Justin Herbert is looking very Mahomes-esque, right? Like, end of game.
Yeah.
It really comes down to the clock and who gets the ball last. Because if Justin Herbert's getting the ball last they're only down a score, or if they just need to tie, that game's going to overtime or the Chargers are winning.
Yeah, 100%. At number 7 here, let's go with Minnesota. I think they're slightly better than the Chargers right now because I know what I'm getting from the skill pieces. Like, there are games where, although Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are healthy now, that they just won't show up. They're just not a factor.
Yeah.
And I like Minnesota's consistent run game a little bit better. Dalvin Cook, I think, is a slightly better back than Eckler. This is a coin flip game for me. If it's on neutral turf, I'll take Minnesota by like a field goal. That's why they're ahead of the Chargers. I like Kirk Cousins. I like their weapons. Now, their defense is piss poor.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. It's an offensive league, and they can score points.
And they've proven that they can come back from huge deficits, too.
Right.
Setting a new NFL record, being down 33-0, and then being able to pull yourself back is a feat in itself. So, yeah, I mean, Vikings, and they've played well all year. They've played up to expectations and exceeded them. So people want to tell me, oh, well, they've been in all these close games. If they're so good, like, why are all the games close? I don't care, really. I don't. The thing is, good teams win close games. Yeah.
Okay, they find a way to win week in and week out. Whether that's a 61-yard field goal, whether you get a couple pick sixes, whatever, right? They're finding a way to win.
Yep.
At number 6, Dallas. Now, Dallas isn't higher because I think they only have one way to win. Now, you saw it this weekend. They could score points, but I think the way to win, especially as we get into the playoffs, they have to run the football and they have to play good defense. That's why they're not higher, but you can't deny the talent. Micah Parsons, Dak is certainly a B-plus quarterback, good receivers, 2 good backs. Trayvon Diggs on the back end is really, really nice. They get a pass rush. They rotate about 7 guys on the defensive line, fresh bodies. So it's a good football team. It's a talented football team. They're not higher because I think they have a script to win, especially as they go into the playoffs.
That's gonna
the top teams can win multiple ways,
and that's going to tack on a lot of limitations. Right. I mean, when you play a team that can hit you with multiple ways of winning, like a Cincinnati, if they see them, in the Super Bowl, if they were to make it there,
or
I don't like
San
that
Francisco,
matchup. Or San Francisco on the way too in the playoffs. I just don't see how a one-dimensional team can really make a bid to go all that far.
Right. But they're super talented, so they definitely deserve to be at 6. They've played well. They're really, really talented. Not taking anything away from them.
I mean, they're beating the Vikings. They're beating the Chargers. They're beating the Jags. And I think they beat the Ravens. So.
And I think it'd be really, really close against San Francisco. I'll take San Francisco because they run the football a little bit better, but it'd be a close game.
Yep.
At number 5, that is San Francisco. Right. Look, they're not higher because Brock Purdy. I'm not sure exactly what I'm getting. He is slightly limited, but at the end of the day, he gets the ball out on time and it's accurate. They can run the football. Their defense, I think, is probably the best in the league.
Oh, easily.
I mean, Fred Warner and Kinlaw, the linebackers, are just or Greenlaw, Dre Greenlaw, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. They have an all-pro level player at every single level. Hufanga on the back end. You got Fred Warner and Greenlaw. You got Nick Bosa, who is he your defensive player of the year? It's him or Micah. It's certainly he's got an argument. You got Debo, he'll be back. George Kittle, C-Mac. I mean, they're loaded. They're loaded. Brandon Ayuk. So, like I said, the only reason they're not higher is I'm not sure if I can trust Brock Purdy to go on the road in a playoff game. If somebody's coming to him, I'll take San Fran all day. Now, if he has to go on the road to Philly, I don't love that. That's really not a good matchup. Yeah.
Especially because the Eagles play a really tough physical defense like the 49ers.
Right.
That's a tough one. But 49ers at 5, I think they're fitting in there perfectly right now. And they have a lot of room to move up to.
100%.
If Brock can, prove
if I see Brock go ahead and win a playoff game, I'd probably put him at 1.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the best roster in the league.
I think so too.
Number 4, let's go with the Bills. I like the Bills, but I think they're a little bit overvalued. They can't run the football consistently. The line is pretty average to below average, and I do like their defense, but they are a little bit weak in the secondary, which is weird considering the talent they have back there. Tre'Davious White, I want to say Micah Hyde's out for the year, but Jordan Poyer's in, or maybe he's out and Hyde's in. They have one of their two really, really nice safeties. Their top DB, they have Matt Milano. They have a good defensive front, but they're not playing up to expectations, and they can't run the football. But you have to respect what they can do on the outside. You have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, who has been streaky this year, but I trust in big spots. He's going to make the play. So it's an explosive offense, but I'm not sure how well it's going to travel if they have to go to a Cincinnati, if they have to go to a Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them stack up against Kansas City and lose the last 2 years.
Right.
And a lot of that has been problems in the secondary, so if you're still going to kind of have those issues, I expect a lot of the same thing. If you're not going to, if you keep attacking the same problem with the same plan, the same scheme, and it keeps ending in the same result, that's kind of the definition of insanity.
Right.
So the Bills, I have seen a lot of rankings that have them at like 2. I think that's a little inflated.
I think NFL or maybe it was Bleacher Report or whatever just post their power rankings, they're at 1. So I'm like, I don't see that. I don't see that. They're certainly a really, really good football team. If they ran the table in the AFC and went to the Super Bowl, would I be surprised? Absolutely not. Not even close. We have them in the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I mean, Josh Allen has to account for, I'd say 90% of that ranking of being at number 1.
100%. At number 3, let's go with the Eagles. They are human, right? The defense got exposed a little bit versus Dallas, but at the end of the day, that's a really good football team. They're going to run the football, great line play on both sides of the ball. They have talent on the outside. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith's a freak.
Yeah, he is.
It's a good secondary most of the time, so they got exposed a little bit. It happens. You go on the road against a good team. It is what it is.
It's going to happen.
But it is a factor, right? I think that's why I don't put them at 1. And also going into the playoffs here, I have to see Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni win a playoff game before I can crown them. Like the two teams above the Eagles have won playoff games with the coach and quarterback pairing. They've went on the road, won playoff games, came from behind in big spots. I haven't seen that yet from Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. So that's why they're not higher.
Right.
All right, number 2, let's go with the Bengals. It was a coin flip between them and the Chiefs. I trust Mahomes a little bit more, and I trust Andy Reid a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close. Look, like I said, I think Burrow's better on third down, but what Mahomes been able to do, transform from an entirely big play offense to now he's one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league, that's going to travel really well going into the playoffs, so that's why they're 1. Bengals at 2 because they've been beat up a little bit. Defense has shown they're kind of human. Mostly they're good in the second half, but they lost it in New England. Thank God they were able to save it. But I don't know. Bengals at 2, Chiefs at 1 feels right. You could convince me Bengals at 1, Chiefs at 2. It's a coin flip for me. I'll go with the more proven quarterback and coach combo.
Yeah, see, I was between thinking Bengals 1, Chiefs 2, just because they have that win. I'm not sure that's like such a because I think that's more of a matchup thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I think the Bengals matchup is really, really well against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You put them against a really high caliber team, and
so I mean they
like a Bengals-Bills game, like we're gonna see this week.
I can't wait to watch it. I cannot wait to watch.
That's gonna be very telltale of these rankings here.
So
and we could see that move.
The Bengals have beat the Chiefs 3 straight times, but if they played, if you take that out 10 times. 5-5, 6-4, maybe.
Probably.
Like it's really, really close.
I mean, 3-0 is a
games.
Statistical anomaly. I would have to think.
And they've all been really, really close. They've all been really close football games. So.
And I like Burrow and I like Mahomes. So.
That's our top 10. We got the Ravens at 10, Jags at 9, Chargers at 8, Vikings at 7, Dallas at 6. We got San Fran at 5, Buffalo at 4, Philadelphia at 3, Cincinnati at 2, and Kansas City as the number 1 team in the NFL here going into Week 17. So let's hop over to some news, kind of see what's shaking in the football world now. All right, start with story number 1 here. Obviously, plenty of teams are clinching and being eliminated from the NFL playoffs. But Justin Herbert and the Chargers clinched a playoff spot Monday with a big win over the Colts on the road. So first of all, what are your thoughts on the Chargers and their outlook going forward?
It's a little uncertain, but I at least expected a playoff berth, right? So
that was bare minimum for me.
So that's a check. At least Brandon Staley gets to stay in Los Angeles for a little bit longer and coach the Chargers. But I think going forward, they do have some glaring issues. Like you mentioned, their weapons aren't all that reliable all of the time.
Right.
So Justin Herbert's forced to do a lot more than I think he should be. Plus, when they can't get the running game going, they seem to stall out a little bit. The AFC is wildly competitive, though. So I think into the playoffs, they maybe squeak out and win a game, but I don't see them going all that far this year.
So, just because we have a little bit of time, let's just look at the AFC quarterbacks. Right, so just actually, let's go top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Don't even worry about conference. So what? Probably like Mahomes 1. I'll go Burrow 2, Allen 3, Herbert 4,
Jalen somewhere in there.
Jalen Hurts somewhere in there. I'd say Rodgers somewhere in there.
Yeah. Lamar when he's healthy.
But Trevor Lawrence right now.
T-Law, yeah. I mean,
who else? Dak I'll probably throw in there.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else. Either way, so out of those 9, 6 of them are in the AFC playoffs.
Yes. So it's going to be a tough road to get
because
anywhere.
Lamar will be back. Burrow will be back. Or Burrow's in. Mahomes obviously. Herbert now. T-Law leads the division. He's in.
It's going to be tough.
That's insane.
It's going to be tough. So
that's insane.
That's why I'm not quite sure what to think about them going forward. I think they have the potential. They have a high ceiling, but then they also just have pitfalls that you can't have in such a highly competitive conference.
Right. I don't see how it goes. Story number 2 here. As previously mentioned, the Denver Broncos have parted ways with Nathaniel Hackett after 15 games. The team was a disastrous 4-11 under Hackett, finishing his time there with a 51-14 shelling of a loss to the Rams on what was that, Sunday?
Yeah.
On Christmas, not a very good present. He gets fired, obviously, Monday, I think.
Yeah.
Like right after that. It did not take long, of course. We didn't expect it to. Is there, in recent memory, a worse tenure of a coach?
I don't think so. I mean, you come in unproven. You get a.
You take what was a Hall of Fame quarterback.
What you think is like, a really good MVP level quarterback and somebody that you can, kind of build a team around, and he just, with everything on his side, couldn't get it done. So, I mean, I think the best thing that Denver has done all year is fire Hackett. So now you need to look for the right guy at the helm. You need to go offensive, first of all, because that's the...
I'd go experience.
Experience, offensive head coach.
Hear me out. Jason Garrett. No, I know you think it's crazy.
I could hear the argument.
He won the division for years with Dallas. Now, it was a little bit of a mess. But, I mean, look what he did with Daniel Jones. Now, obviously, they moved on. But when he had Daniel Jones for, I think, a year or two in New York as the offensive coordinator, there was like a year where he had like 2 fumbles in the last 8 games or something like that. Like he was able to stop the turnover issue with Daniel Jones. So, look, sounds crazy.
They need answers in Denver.
I mean, we want to go offensive. You probably should go for experience. That's not just floating around in the market.
No, yeah, you can't go for somebody that has to come in and prove themselves again, because that just crashed and burned.
Oh, Sean Payton. Sean Payton wants no part of that job. No part of that job.
Mm-mm. If I'm Sean Payton, I'm going for the Dallas job when
the Dallas
that
job
eventually
if
open.
that goes. If they decide to move up Brandon Staley, which I don't think they will now that they got to the playoffs, but I wouldn't pick Denver. Because Sean Payton, he's making good money and has a really good job with Fox. So he doesn't even have to get a job this offseason. He can wait around again for another cycle.
He can be picky. He can pick and choose.
And he should be picky.
Yes. But this Denver situation, they are screwed with the money they're paying Russ. They can't really get rid of him. We were talking a little bit before we started. What do? You are so stuck. If you were the head coach inheriting that, we graded the coaching vacancies. We'll probably do that again this year. So this has to be bottom, right? Like this has to be like F. Like you don't want to go in here.
No. That's why I think Jason Garrett, because he's kind of viewed that he's not a very good coach. I think he's actually a pretty good coach.
But he could play fix-it guy.
He could play fix-it guy, turn it around, get you to 9-8 within 2 years. And then you move off him for a better, younger coach who actually wants to go there, who has more potential.
You are in a division with Mahomes. You're in a division with Herbert. Like, you don't have time to sit around and wait. You have to go get this talent now.
Jason Garrett's respected. He brings the temperature in the room down. I don't think it's a crazy idea. Either way, story number 3 here. North Carolina stud quarterback Drake May, rumored to have received 2 separate $5+ million a year offers from other schools if he transferred. Now, does this not fall under the tampering umbrella? And if it does, like, what is the NCAA gonna do about this behavior?
They don't have any like guidelines or any framework set up.
If they're in the portal, that's one thing. If you're trying to poach guys that are firmly in another program, that's another. That's tampering.
Yeah.
That you have to put your foot down on something, right?
You have to draw a line. You have to set boundaries. Because this NIL thing, I love it. I
love the NIL.
I love that players can get paid for this. Fantastic. But there has to be some sort of guardrail. There has to be some sort of precedent set where there are things that you can do and things that you can't do. And because it's not in the writing, I feel like the college football is just kind of going to let them go.
I agree. I don't
think is the best way to do it.
You have to do something about the tampering. That's a problem. If he actually got $5 million a year offers probably from an SEC school, I would imagine.
Probably from a coach that last name rhymes with Aben.
Maybe. I would go more, what about Jimbo Fisher?
Ah.
Now, hear me out, right? They went 4-8. He's trying to kind of save his job a little bit. They had an awful year. He's been down in recruiting a little bit. People are transferring away.
Yeah. I don't know.
Throw a little money.
Either way, it's not the right thing, and college football needs to put a stop to it, like immediately.
I agree. One good thing about college football is the playoffs. So story number 4 here. I guess this is the last episode before the college football playoffs. So let's go ahead and make our predictions. So we got Michigan and TCU at 4 o'clock on ESPN, followed by Ohio State and Georgia at 8 o'clock, also on ESPN. So I'll go ahead and take Michigan over TCU. And then I'm going to go with the upset here, Ohio State over Georgia, and I'll take Michigan over Ohio State in the rematch of the game.
Okay, I like Georgia.
Georgia?
I think it's going to be Michigan, Georgia. And I'm not 100% set on who wins that because that's going to be a good game. That's going to be fantastic.
If they do meet, that would be a good game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it probably will end up like that. I don't know. I don't know if Ohio State has it.
I don't know. We'll see. It's a total guess. Being a little ballsy out there. So
either way, a new face. We don't have the Crimson Tide in it, which is I think win. That's a win for all of college football.
Feels good to see TCU in. Max Duggan, that's a good story. He's an NFL quarterback. I'm not sure he's a starter, but he's an NFL quarterback.
And TCU making it in is way better of a watch than like when Cincinnati made 100%, it in.
Yeah, they'll compete.
I think they actually have a pretty good shot, and they'll at least be really, really competitive with Michigan. But I like Michigan overall in that game.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's about all we got for the news there. Whenever we come back, we will do our predictions, obviously, for Week 17. Then we'll get into a little bit of this or that Tua Tagovailoa edition.
What's up? We are back. Third segment of the issue on December 29th. So we have our Week 17 predictions this week and the next week, and that's it. The NFL season is coming to a close.
It's sad.
It is sad. I do enjoy our prediction segments.
Yeah. We'll have our predictions for playoffs when we get there, but it's not the same.
Right. When you can just go through an entire week of football, predict, and then you get to watch Scott Hansen break it all down on NFL Red Zone.
Hey, and there's no Saturday games. There's no. There's a Thursday night game and a Monday night game.
You just have to pick
everything else is on Sunday.
One day to be a degenerate, and that's the
everything
day of
else
the week
on Sunday.
Yes.
We will get an Octo box.
I can't wait.
It's been too long, Scott.
I think it's been like 2 straight weeks without an Octo box.
I think even more. It's been way too long.
May have been. Yeah, 2 weeks feels like 2 months. But we will start with our Week 17 predictions here in this segment, and then to finish it off, you kind of have another rant on Tua, and that will lead to this or that Tua edition. So we will go through a couple quarterbacks and decide if we would rather have them or if we would rather have Tua. For the next 5 years? Is that
5 years? Yeah, 5 years.
Okay, so for the next 5 years,
all things included.
So salary.
All things included. Salary. What team? So like it's
coach.
Basically Dolphins, right? Yeah, coach. So yeah, all things included.
All right. So let's go Week 17 predictions. Not too many of them left. Let's get going on it.
All right. First off, Cowboys traveling to Tennessee Thursday Night Football. We're both going to take the Cowboys. First of all, they're a better football team. They're a little bit more healthy right now. The offensive line is getting healthy. The Titans are banged up, so they're missing Tannehill for the rest of the season. So they're going to go with Malik Willis, who I think, again, is 1.5 to 2 years out from being competitive as a starter. Offensive line's beat up. Receiving core's beat up. Secondary's beat up. So the Cowboys are a healthier, better team. I think they win going on the road in Tennessee.
Yeah, I think so too. Tennessee, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. They kind of have lost their way from what they do really well. And the Cowboys, they do have that nice 1-2 punch that they can hit you with Zeke and Tony Pollard. Even though Zeke isn't, up to
He's
what
still,
he's
still
being
a good
paid.
back. He's still a good back.
He's just a little bit overpaid.
Yeah.
A lot of it overpaid.
Yeah. The 1-2 punch, though, is good.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys over the Titans and a struggling Tennessee.
Right. All right, let's go with the New Orleans Saints at the Eagles. We're both going to take the Eagles. They're a better football team. I don't know who I'm getting a quarterback. Is it Andy Dalton or Taysom Hill? Doesn't matter. Neither of them are very good. Even if Minshew starts for the Eagles, I'll take the Eagles at home to win over the Saints.
Yeah, I was going to say either of the quarterbacks that start in New Orleans, don't like it. Either of the two quarterbacks that start for Philadelphia,
Like it.
I like it. Gardner Minshew's a gamer. He gives me a lot of Taylor Heineke vibes.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke. I think he's
just
he's
kinda
about on
comes
the
in.
same level as Taylor Heineke. He might be a little bit better even.
He's just very chippy, very competitive,
Yeah.
ultra competitive. Comes in,
Yeah.
wins games. So, yeah.
I've done this before, but if you look at his stats and Baker's stats, they're the same quarterback. They
Yeah.
both went to, Gardner Minshew went with under Mike Leach.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley started his coaching from Mike Leach. They're very, very similar systems. In college, very similar systems, very similar numbers. In the pros, very similar numbers. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. I've done that before. I'll have to do that again sometime.
Yeah, if you want to find that, that's on our Instagram. You just have to
It's-
scroll for a
it's
while.
down there, but I do remember doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with the Browns at the Commanders. You'll take the Browns. I'm guessing, hoping Deshaun Watson comes out of his slump. I'll take the Commanders because it's a better overall team. I don't feel great about it. I think their defense is clicking, though, so I'll go with the Commanders.
Yeah, I don't feel good about taking the Browns either. I feel like this is one of those toss-up games. I think we have another one of these coming up.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah, I mean the Browns have a running game. They have good backs, and that's really all I can hang my hat on because we haven't seen much upside with Deshaun. So that looks like a miss too.
Well,
Not a miss for us, but just a miss for the Browns.
Yeah, miss for the Browns. We kind of guessed this, that he was out of football for so long.
It's so hard. We take 2 weeks off the podcast, and
It's
you come back,
different.
and you have to get back into it. You have to get the flow back.
Right.
Let alone 2 years out of the most competitive league in all of sports in the United States, in the NFL.
All right, let's go with the Panthers at the Bucks. We'll both take the Bucks here. I thought about the Panthers, but it's in Tampa Bay, so that's why I'm going to go with the Bucks.
Yeah.
At home, they've been a much better team than on the road, so I'll bank on that, I guess.
Yeah, I'll take Tom Brady over, I guess, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't fully trust Brady at this point. I've seen a lot of
I don't either.
bad from Tampa, and he's fed up. You can just tell he's done with that system.
Yeah.
But against the Panthers, who's such an inferior opponent to Tom at least, maybe
Right.
not to the team as a whole, I'm going to go with Tampa.
Let's go with the Browns at the Lions, Bears at the Lions. We'll both take the Lions.
Yeah.
They're a better football team. I think the Bears at this point probably packing up for the year, hoping to see maybe they can get that top pick.
Better coach.
Yeah.
Better quarterback. More consistent quarterback, I guess.
Consistent quarterback.
Not as high of a ceiling, but
Right.
consistent.
Right now he's a better quarterback. Jared Goff's a better quarterback than Fields right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a really good pass rush. Really good
nice
pass rush.
pass rush, good weapons. So yeah, the Lions are better at pretty much every phase.
Yeah, we don't pick the Bears too much this season on the show.
All right, let's go with the Cardinals at the Falcons. We're split on this one. You'll take the Cardinals. I'll go ahead and take the Falcons. Being at home, I think they're going to be able to run the football. The front seven for Arizona is relatively weak, so I think you're going to be able to run the football. And I'll take the Falcons to run the football. Arizona will fall behind. Playing from behind with a backup, Trace McSorley, is not their game, so I'll take the Falcons in a close one.
Yeah, this game does not. I don't feel good about taking the Cardinals in any stretch. Not having Kyler.
I think it's Trace McSorley starting.
Yeah, so.
But it's Desmond Ritter on the other
Trace.
side, so that's not good either.
The thing is, Arizona has the weapons. They just don't have anybody to distribute the ball to those weapons.
No,
even
I don't like their
Kyler
coach.
can't throw all that way. He's
okay,
a pretty good
but-
passer, but by no means is he elite.
No.
So, I don't know.
I don't like their coach either.
I don't like Atlanta. I never bet Atlanta, so I'm just gonna stick with that. Cardinals.
Fair. All right, Dolphins at the Patriots. You'll go ahead and take the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Patriots at home. They're actually getting 2.5 points. That's interesting for betting. For me, I wouldn't really touch the game. But either way, the Patriots at home, it's going to be cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
We know how Tua does in cold weather, although he did play well at Buffalo. But once the snow started, it went downhill. So I'll take the Patriots at home in the cold over the Dolphins. What do you think?
I'll go Dolphins just because I like their weapons and I like they have the ability to pop at any point in the game.
That's fair.
They have the big play ability. I don't think that New England really has that. I'm not a big fan of Mac Jones. I like Tua more than Mac Jones.
Slightly, yeah.
So I'll roll with Miami.
All right, Broncos at the Chiefs. We'll both take the Chiefs. Broncos suck.
Yeah, that's fairly easy.
They're not very good. Jaguars at Texans. Once again, we'll take the Jags. Even if it's in Houston, I don't care. Jacksonville actually only laying 4 points is a good bet. We like that. Next one, we got the Colts at the Giants. We're both going to take the Giants here. I mean, the Colts are I will say it's an interesting matchup between their defense and Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. Can they force him into some turnovers? Because if so, it could go sideways for New York. But I'll take New York to run the football. Their front seven will probably control the line of scrimmage, so I'll take the Giants close.
Yeah, I like that. There's not much you can hang your hat on in Indianapolis. The Colts are just an absolute tire fire. So,
Niners at the Raiders. I think the Raiders now being eliminated are going to take a step back. They're going to the motivation is just not really there. It's a very emotional team with Carr at the helm too, so they probably feed off some of that. And without there really being a chance to make the playoffs, I think they kind of take a step down. Niners win relatively easily.
Oh, quite handily. Yeah, they have the best defense, and I mean their offensive weapons are nothing to play with. So
yeah, Jets at the Seahawks. Seahawks have had a very tough last month and a half.
Been a bit of a roller coaster.
Well, Geno's getting exposed when he doesn't have a running game and when he can't throw off play action as easily. This is what happens, and I think that's going to be the same here. You can basically take DK Metcalf out of the game because Sauce Gardner's going to be on him. So who's he going to throw to? And Kenneth Walker is either hurt or still banged up, so the running game's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
I'll take the Jets.
Yeah, Jets. I don't like banking on the Jets. I don't exactly like what they're doing over there, but against the Seattle.
Right. Let's go with the Vikings at the Packers. So the Vikings have been playing every game close. Now, they've been winning a lot of them, but I worry about going on the road to Lambeau.
Yeah.
Can they win one of those close games? Because think about, and it's not going to be prime time, but it is going to be getting into like nighttime territory. So it starts at 4:25, and so by the time you're getting in the fourth quarter, that's a dark football game.
Feels like a primetime game.
Feels like a primetime game, getting rowdy. And last time that they played a primetime game at night, they got trounced by Dallas. I think that was a 4:25 game, and then when they went to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So going to Philly, it's going to feel very, very similar in the cold Lambeau tundra. So I will take the Packers to win by about a field goal. You're taking the Vikings. You feel good about it?
I like the Vikings. I don't feel good about it because I know how Kirk tends to shrink in big games. But
Right.
I do think this is a very big defining moment for the season for Minnesota, right?
Yeah,
Because
they could put a stamp on it and Green Bay's chances at playoffs.
Right. So this is a big game. You need to hold Green Bay out of the playoffs if you're Minnesota. Just for pure looks. Your division rival. For sure. You haven't been able to beat them for how many years? So I think the Vikings, I don't love the pick, but I like the Vikings.
All right. Rams at the Chargers. We'll both take the Chargers here. They're a better football team.
The Rams are just, there's not much to say on
Rams
that
aren't
one.
very good. The defense is starting to play a little bit better, but I don't think that's going to
Their
really
offense
have
is
much
still
effect.
spiraling.
Yeah, it's not very good. I know they scored 51 points, but that's one of those games where it's like you don't take a whole lot from that.
Well, when the ball is given to you on the 25 every single time, I mean, they had 3 drives that started within the 30.
Yeah, so that's what you'll get. All right, Steelers at the Ravens. We're both going to take the Ravens. I like the Steelers. I think they're a very good football team, and I know that they outplayed the Ravens last time they played them, but then 3 red zone interceptions from Mitch, and I know Kenny's playing, but that's a tough spot on the road, prime time for a rookie quarterback.
Oh.
So I will take the Ravens slightly. I don't feel good. This is going to be an ugly football game, I think. This is another 16-13 type of game.
Yeah.
But I'll take the Ravens by that 3 margin.
Yeah, I like the Ravens too. I was looking for something to pick the Steelers and just something to give a little bit of hope for Pittsburgh. Nothing. Kenny Pickett going into a hostile environment in Baltimore. Yeah. He hasn't played there yet, let alone late season.
Yeah, he hasn't played there yet. Wow.
So there's not a lot of things that line up to make you take the Steelers.
Yeah. All right, let's go with the Bills at the Bengals. You'll take the Bills. I'll go with the Bengals at home.
Game of the week.
Game of the week easily. Cannot wait to watch it. That's the Monday night game. I don't know how I feel about it. Like I said, I'll take the Bengals because they're at home, and Joe Burrow, his precision, his accuracy is going to kind of expose what I think is a relatively overrated and weak secondary in Buffalo. But we'll see. Maybe I'm crazy. You're taking Buffalo. Why?
Josh Allen, the Josh Allen effect, and what happens when he can turn it on. I mean, I love Joe Burrow, and I love the Bengals, and I think they're a really good team. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sold on them being over the Bills just yet.
It's fair. We'll see.
I don't know. It'll be. It'll definitely be the game of the week. That's the one I'm watching Monday night.
I agree. I'm really hoping I win that one. I'll take a victory lap on next Thursday's
Yeah,
show.
we'll see.
But I do want to take yet another victory lap around this whole Tua situation. So I'll agree that Tua, he's a starting quarterback. I think he's a starting quarterback in the league. Anywhere, to be a bona fide starter, not one of those kind of rotational where they're really really looking for the next guy, like a Taylor Heineke, like a Daniel Jones, right? Like the Falcons, right? They have a starting quarterback, yes. Are they real starters in the NFL? No. I will say Tua is a top 20 guy. Those are the guys where they're probably going to have a job almost every year, depending on where they are, maybe a bridge quarterback, whatever, right? I'll concede that. But I'm going to say something that's very controversial, but here it goes. Tua's career and his trajectory, he's going to end up more like a Baker Mayfield than his initial comp coming out, which was a left-handed Drew Brees. You think I'm nuts. Here's the numbers. They're the same quarterback. They're the same quarterback. So I was nice, and I took out this year for Baker. It's been disastrous. Tua is more accurate. We know that, right? Baker's got a couple more yards per game. Tua's pass rating's higher. Touchdown to pick ratio is damn near equal. They're damn near equal. Look right there. The numbers are right there. Damn near equal. I'm just telling you what I see. Right? Obviously, we know Tua, he's going to complete about 4% higher on his completion percentage. We know that he's more accurate. But Baker's more push the ball down the field guy. He's got more yards. Tua's pass rating higher, yes, but it's not insane. It's not Patrick Mahomes level. It's not top 10 level. Touchdown to pick ratio is almost identical. It's almost identical. You think I'm crazy when I say Tua is going to end up more like Baker, but right there's the numbers. You take a look. You look at it. Almost the same. Kind of small, not very athletic. Average arm. Baker's is slightly better. I like Tua's maturity, and I think that's why he's going to be slightly better than Baker Mayfield. But I think he's going to be closer to Baker's career trajectory than his initial comp, Drew Brees. And so what that takes us to is a game of this or that. Tua, Tagovailoa edition. Let's start with Baker. So Baker Mayfield or Tua. I would take Tua slightly, right? Like I said, the numbers are very equal. They're very, very similar. But I would still take Tua. First of all, he's younger. I think he's more accurate, which I think is more valuable than having a massive arm. Now, you do have to have the arm.
Sure.
But I think accuracy will keep you in the league longer and make you more competitive for longer.
I think so too, yeah.
So I will take Tua slightly, plus everything involved, system and everything. I don't know where Baker's going to be in 5 years.
And you avoid the drama with Tua too.
Right, and if Tua does stay in Miami, which that's basically all I can assume right now, because he's been good enough where they'll probably give him another year or two, I would imagine, at least. With Mike McDaniel, those weapons. So I would take Tua for the next 5 years.
Agree, 100%.
Okay, next one.
We got Jalen Hurts.
See, I would take Jalen. I think Jalen is special at something. I don't think Tua is special at anything. I think he's accurate enough to be an NFL quarterback. But so are a lot of people. So is almost every quarterback in the NFL, especially the top end of the league. Jalen is special with his legs, and I think his leadership is unmatched. I think he's probably one of the best leaders at the quarterback position in the game, so I'll take Jalen.
How about Kirk Cousins or Tua?
See, I'll take Tua slightly. I think they're very much on the same plane, right? Both are accurate. Both are going to be grown-ups in the room, can learn the system, can distribute the ball to playmakers. But I think Tua, first of all, he's younger. Right now, he's more cheap. And I think going forward, he'll probably be a little bit cheaper as well, because if you're telling me that he's worth $45 million, I'm going to tell you you're crazy.
Yeah.
He'll probably get a tag somewhere around 30, 35, which going forward with the cap going up will be a lesser cap hit than Kirk has been throughout his career. And I think Tua will age pretty well, assuming he doesn't continue to get hurt. But I do like his accuracy. That ages pretty well. I'll go Tua slightly.
All right, this one is interesting when it comes to leading a team. How about Jared Goff or Tua?
See, the next 5 years, I'll go Tua.
Okay.
Right now, if you tell me the next two, I'd probably go Jared Goff. It's close.
What about the kickstart an organization? Does that change your answer
from ground
at all?
zero?
Yes.
Depends what my organization is. I would still go Tua slightly.
Okay, so you like Tua.
Younger, more accurate. Also, both get flustered with pressure like a lot of NFL quarterbacks do. I hate when people hold that against somebody for their entire career. Yeah, so does everybody. If you got 300-pound men hitting you, that's going to be a problem. But Tua is slightly better under pressure than Jared Goff is. You can see him go, you'll see him go on the road like to New England and just completely unravel.
Yes.
Tua can at least hold his own in those games. So I'll take Tua slightly.
Okay, how about Tua or Dak Prescott?
Everybody thinks I'm a Dak hater. I'll take Dak for the next 5 years. I think Dak is I think he's a much better leader. He's got a bigger presence, bigger in the room. He's been the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. That's a resume, right? You're putting that on your resume, you know? Like, that's a big-time job.
Bold and underline that one.
That's a big-time job. That's big-time pressure, and he's handled it pretty well. They win the division, or at least competing for it every single year. A lot of double-digit win seasons. Like I said, I only have a problem when people try to put Dak in, like, the top 8. That's where I have my problem. I think Dak is every bit of a top 12 quarterback, probably 10 or 11. So I will take him over Tua, yeah.
Okay. How about Justin Herbert or Tua?
I think Herbert, it's not really all that close. He's a bigger, stronger athlete. He's got a better arm. Winning is here or there. I think he contributes to winning more than Tua. Regardless of what their actual quarterback records are, I think he contributes to winning more than Tua, so I will take Justin Herbert.
All right. A younger guy here, Trevor Lawrence, kind of breaking out, or Tua?
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, he's a physical specimen. He might be the most talented quarterback in the league. Like, seriously. Even over Mahomes, Herbert, Allen. Like, Allen would be close, but he's what? He's like 6'6", 240, moves, big arm.
Yeah, they don't just make him like that.
No, they don't make him like that. He's a freak of nature. I'll take Trevor Lawrence for the next 10 years.
All right, now this one is interesting. Brock Purdy or Tua?
No, this is 5 years out. You'll think I'm crazy. I think it's a coin flip. Let me sell you on Brock Purdy. So the system that Purdy's in is nuts, right? The talent's crazy. Not that Tua doesn't have that, because he does. It's basically the same system, but I think Kyle runs it a little bit better than Mike McDaniel, basically because it is Kyle's system.
Right.
And the talent is good on both sides. But Brock has been slightly more accurate. Doesn't push the ball as much, so his yards per game are less than Tua, but he's a rookie coming in towards the end of the season, so he's not expected to push the ball as much. Brock's pass rating's higher, the touchdown-interception ratio is the same, and he's way cheaper.
It's interesting. It's very interesting because...
Look, see, I think it's a coin flip, so I'll play devil's advocate. I think I'll take Brock Purdy. I think it's crazy. You think it's crazy. Look at the stats. Slightly more accurate. He's not going to throw the ball, and I'm looking at him right here. He's more accurate. Not going to throw for as many yards, but again, who knows going forward if they're going to allow him to push the ball a little bit more. But in Kyle's system, he doesn't want the quarterback to be some crazy Patrick Mahomes slinging the ball.
That's why Jimmy G fits in so well.
That's why Brock does fit in well. Brock's pass rating's higher, and the touchdown-to-interception ratio is the same, almost. And he's cheaper.
He is a lot cheaper. Oh, man.
You think it's crazy? I don't think...
It's just... the thing with...
It's close. I'll tell you it's close. A lot of people will say Tua.
Yeah.
I'll go Brock. I'll be different.
All right. I like it. The 49ers are just... I don't think they're a very non-quarterback dependent offense.
Yeah, the whole team is a specimen.
I think overall Purdy is showing out. And when you can get a stamp of approval from a George Kittle.
Oh, yeah. George Kittle's a big fan.
Oh, yeah. That's another one to a resume builder there. That's a reference you probably want in the NFL.
For sure.
But guys, that is all we have for you today. Make sure you go check out the newsletter, subscribe on our website, theissuesports.com, and then you can find all of our links to our social media and other platforms where the show is, all from the link in the description below. So wherever you are watching or listening to this, just go down to the description. All the links are there for you. Guys, thanks for listening, and that was The Issue.